Are you in a tight spot, running out of time and options? Are you in a critical situation where only a miracle can get you out? Have you tried your best possible and no result seems to be forthcoming? Are you about to give up and let life have its toll on you? Perhaps you are in a state of panic, confused, clueless, and helpless. Or maybe you are crying out for help. You need it quickly and urgently, but it seems like no one can hear you. Whatever situation you happen to find yourself in, you need to know that God still works miracles and would come through at a time when you do not even expect it. He is a God that shows up even at the last minute. It might seem delayed, but surely God will always come through. And He is never late, even if it seems that way. Just when it looks as if it is over, He will make a way and provide the solution to that problem. Just as He has done for many others in the scriptures and our contemporary age, He will cause you to encounter a last-minute miracle. What are last-minute miracles? Last-minute miracles are solutions that appear at the end point when time is almost up. They are miraculous deliverance from impossible situations that defies human logic or understanding. They are the answers to prayers or requests that seem impossible and victories over hopeless situations. The Israelites, for instance, were stuck between the Egyptians and the Red Sea. They could not cross the sea, neither could they turn back. The Egyptians were at their heels. The only thing they could do was cry out in fear and panic. Little did they know that God already had plans for them. Just when the Egyptians would have caught up with them and destroyed them or brought them back into slavery, God showed up. He asked Moses to stretch forth his rod over the waters, and it split into two. Then he led them with a pillar of fire to guide them and separated them from the Egyptians with a pillar of cloud. It was a very close one, and most of the Israelites had already panicked. They thought the end had come for them, but God showed up at the very last minute. That might be your situation now. Perhaps you have a deadline to meet or an assignment to complete, a situation that needs a solution within a limited time, and you are already running out of time. Even when you are tempted to give up and leave things to fate, do not. Always remember that God is never too late. If you miss that opportunity, it might be that it was never yours in the first place, or that God has bigger plans for you. You just have to trust His plans for your life, knowing that He never fails and He has your best interest at heart. Moreover, God's ways are not always our ways, and His plans may be quite different from ours. When given a project or task, it is normal to want to get a head start on it. So we plan, do feasibility studies, weigh our options, and work based on that plan. In essence, we try to cover the entire end and leave no loopholes. We like to be in control, but things can sometimes get out of hand, and then we become at a loss on what to do or how to go about it. That is just the way it is with our lives. We usually have it all planned, and hardly does anyone plan for troubles or difficult situations. Yet, they cannot be avoided. They can happen at the least expected time, and usually in places you do not expect. What do you do at times like this? You can abandon the project when it becomes impossible or difficult. But would you abandon your life too? Would you just give up on life too? Problems would not disappear because you wish them to, and they cannot be totally avoided as well. At times like this, we look for help, wherever we can, and we want the problem solved immediately. We may even cry out to God and still experience no change or improvement in the situation. Some may lose faith because they think God is taking too long to answer their prayers. We should realize, however, that God cannot be rushed. You cannot force His hands to move just because you wish to have a problem solved immediately. He works in His own way, at His own time and His own pace. But you can always trust Him to be there and proffer a solution when the time is right. The story of Lazarus gives us an example of last-minute miracles. In this case, it looked as if it was too late and that nothing could be done to save the situation. Lazarus was sick, and as his situation deteriorated, he eventually died and was buried. During his sickness, his sisters had called for Jesus to heal him, but He did not come. He appeared when his friend had died and was already buried. When Mary and Martha saw Him, their grief must have increased. They knew of Jesus' ability to heal and believed that He could have healed their brother only if He had come on time. John 11, verse 32. When Mary came to the place where Jesus was and saw Him, she dropped down at His feet, saying to Him, "Lord, if You had been here, my brother would not have died." In their minds, they concluded that it was too late and nothing could be done again to bring their brother back to life. But they witnessed Jesus call forth Lazarus from the grave, and he came back to life again. You might be going through a similar situation. The case might have been closed and all the people concerned have given their verdict. Perhaps your mortgage is overdue and the bank is threatening to shut down your business or take over your house. Maybe you cannot see any help in sight and you are just trying to hang in there. It might even be a problem with your sick child, and the doctors have just told you there is nothing more they can do. If only they had diagnosed the condition earlier, maybe something could have been done. This is not time to panic or allow fear or grief to overcome you. It is not time to cry or become depressed. The fact that it is now out of human hands leaves you with just one option: to turn to God. With Him, nothing is too late. As with the case of Lazarus, even when he was 4 days late, he was still on time. Why does God perform last-minute miracles? Why wait until the last minute before He shows up? First, God uses these miracles to prove His sovereignty and show His might. We can become so carried away with life itself that we forget that someone up there is in control. We think it is normal to do some things and forget to acknowledge God. Until you come across a problem in your business, it is easy to believe that business was supposed to run that way. Peter must have been a seasoned fisherman, yet he did not catch any fish along with his companions after working all night. When they were about to pack up and go home, Jesus came on the scene and they caught lots of fish. Another reason is to show the extent of man's effort and abilities. If you got answers to everything you needed and at the time you needed it, it is possible to begin to think that you achieved all of that through your intelligence or effort. But when faced with situations that are beyond your power, it becomes easy to identify the hand of God, knowing you could not have pulled such a thing by yourself. God also performs last-minute miracles to completely shut the mouth of the enemies. They might have been rejoicing over your defeat, thinking they have won, but God would surprise them when He eventually shows up. He has the final say, and as a result, you can be sure you will have the last laugh. We can see this in the case of Daniel, whom God saved from the den of lions. The 3 Hebrew boys, where God was with them in the fire, and with the Israelites when the water swallowed them and their chariots. God does it to show forth His praise in the most spectacular manner. If you want to encounter your own last-minute miracles, cry out to God in prayer for intervention. He is the only one that can hear your cry and come to your aid. Quit looking for help where there is no help, and instead look up to God for the solution to that problem. The children of Israel cried out to Moses, and so did the widow of the sons of the prophet. She cried out to Elisha at the heights of her problems. Follow every instruction you are given, whether directly from God through the scriptures or His prophets or servants. Moses had to stretch out his rod. Peter had to cast his net into the sea at Jesus' command. And the widow went to borrow jars of oil and did as Elisha had instructed her. There might be an instruction attached to your miracle. Just follow carefully. Finally, believe in God and trust Him to come through for you. No matter the situation or circumstances, nothing is difficult for Him to do. Do not doubt His abilities or limit Him through your thoughts. As you comply, you will encounter your own miracle.